Cable TV undeniably sucked. The high pricing, paying for channels that you'll never use, the early termination fees, and to add to the madness, the horrible customer service. See, all of these things are horrible, but I wasn't paying for it, so I don't really care. Now, would I feel the same if I was paying for it? Probably not, but this is my video, so get off my dick. Maybe it's just the nostalgia of being an innocent kid, but waking up every morning denying my toothpaste and deodorant to catch a new episode of Pokemon before school. That was some of the best times I would have as a kid. Getting off the bus and running back home to make sure I didn't miss the new episode of Teen Titans or Clarence or Steven Universe. These times were exciting. They were fun. Not having these things at the tip of our finger and having to pray for a rerun over a month later. I'm sorry, Gen Alpha, but this shit built character, and even my generation barely got to experience it. So I'm gonna cherish what I had. Everything from the commercials, it was a time to be alive.
Table for two, my good man. Bonjour.
Where do you see commercials like this anymore? I refuse to believe they exist now. In 2022, nearly 5 million people canceled their cable subscription. That number going up to 5.4 million in 2023. And in the first 3 quarters of 2024, that number has gone up to 5.7 million. Now, are these stats real? Probably not. It's probably a little bit higher or lower. You know, these companies don't want us to know how many people truly aren't using it, but we know no one uses this shit. So without cable, what are people using?
What should I play these games before?
Streaming services. I think the big thing with streaming services is you have so much catalog. You have a big selection of things to pick from, but the more here is ultimately less. When it comes to me, I watch 1,000,000% less TV now because going on Netflix and seeing hundreds of thousands of shows is overwhelming. Most of the time when people are watching a show or a movie from a streaming service, they got it recommended from TikTok or YouTube. You can say what you want about the thousands of cable channels, but most people found their 5 to 6 channels and they stuck to it. They knew what they were getting. I knew what I was getting when I typed in channel 64 to get Nickelodeon and 63 to go to Cartoon Network. Ultimately, I had less choices for me, yeah, but I also wasn't overwhelmed, so I ended up watching things anyway. And if I didn't like what I saw on one, I mean, I had 6 other channels, so there would rarely be times where all 6 of my channels missed. Sometimes that linear game has more to offer than that 57 gigabyte sandbox game, especially if it's just a cash grab. Now, you may think streaming is a no-brainer, especially with the cons that I mentioned for cable earlier. And why wouldn't you think that? I mean, you get everything on demand, you get no ads. If you pay more for it, you can watch it whenever and wherever. And the cherry on top is it was cheaper. It was cheaper. It was. That word is important, so I hope you're listening. See, there were only a couple streaming services in the beginning. You had Netflix and you had Hulu. Netflix used to be $7.99 and Hulu used to be $7.99. And even before Hulu was $7.99, it was free. Now, of course, you had ads. But still though, it was free. Anybody could watch Hulu at the time. Now these streaming services are $17.99 and $18.99 respectively. And of course, I'm telling you the one without ads because why would I tell you how much it is with ads? If you're paying for something with ads, you're an idiot. That's like if you bought YouTube Premium and it gave you The Thinning and Liza on demand and you still have to watch that shit with ads. I would kill myself. This doesn't even mention the Crunchyrolls and Amazons and everything else. Companies have seen the lucrative opportunities of streaming services.
So instead of going to Netflix for Hercules, you have to go to Disney Plus and use Disney Plus. And since The Office is a mega hit now, it's on Peacock. So you have to pay for Peacock if you want to watch The Office. And also, I want to watch season 2 of JJK, but that's not on Netflix, so I have to pay for Crunchyroll. And Crunchyroll doesn't have Bleach, so I have to buy Hulu if I want to watch Bleach. So that's...
So how the fuck did I end up paying for 5 streaming services? All this shit used to be on Netflix 10 years ago. Think of every streaming service as a channel on cable.
Just talking about the main platforms, you have your Netflix, you have your Hulu, you have your HBO, you have your Paramount, you have your Amazon, you have your Prime, you have your Peacock, you have your Crunchyroll, and you have your Apple TV Plus.
That's 9 channels. So imagine you had to scroll through 9 channels just to find your favorite shows. These companies understanding that we enjoy convenience made a situation where we have no convenience at all. And now we're paying the same thing that we did when we had cable. We don't have Saturday morning cartoons no more. We don't have new episode releases on Wednesday and Thursday anymore. There's no incentive to care about a new episode anymore because everything is just there. If I miss a new episode of Sakamoto Days, I don't have to worry about a rerun. I can just watch it right now. Unless you watch anime, when's the last time you had to wait a week for an episode of a show that you like? Newsflash, guys. TV shows didn't release in entire seasons at one time. You had to wait and build anticipation, discussing last week's episode and speculating what next week's episode is going to be. These things undeniably brought us together. I'm telling you, how many times have you seen a new series release and you came together with all your friends to watch it together? See, with cable, we were doing that. You were waiting week to week to watch a new episode with your family or friends. These platforms have made an already socially awkward generation more socially awkward. Now, do I think streaming services are the fucking devil? No, I don't think so. But at the end of the day, half of the things that we got upset about with cable, streaming services are starting to do it too. There's an oversaturated market for streaming services. It's like when all your favorite YouTubers are making Mr. Beast thumbnails now, you don't know which one to watch. Now you're not watching any of them and you went to go watch AMP now. Now you're doing that. Now you're watching streaming. See, these companies are unintentionally shooting themselves in the foot. These companies are being selfish. Like I said earlier, shows that were easily accessible all on Netflix before, multiple different platforms made their own streaming services like Disney and Peacock just to take those shows off of Netflix and make it harder and less accessible for people. The same reason why cable companies were so corrupt, because they were taking our money. I can't speak for adults because I wasn't an adult when I had cable. I was a kid, I was watching for free, sitting there rubbing my tummy, eating Cheetos. So the negatives of cable really didn't affect me. But I know in general, I wasn't sifting for hours wondering where a show was. I could just find that shit instantly on my 6 channels. I knew what my 6 channels were. And it was easier, it was less overwhelming. But that's really all I have to say about the cable situation. Honestly, are we gonna go back to cable? No. Am I gonna go back to cable? No. But it was pretty fun. I very much enjoyed it. Oh, and if you comment Sling or YouTube TV in the comment section, you're a hoe and you need to